So we move on to the next method. So we have some parametric values that sine square 17 pi by 18 plus sine square 5 pi by 8 plus cos square 37 pi by 18 and cos square 3 pi by 8. So we have actually converted these value into these value before, and we already have a sine square format and a cos square format. So conversion of sine square and so conversion of any of this value will actually yield the sine square theta plus cos square theta format, and we can actually cancel this part and write +1 here. Similarly, my intuition tells me that this part and this part will also be converted into sine square theta plus cos square theta format, and then we can replace them with 1. Since I've done this before in the previous method, what I'm going to do is actually convert any of these values into that is a 3 pi by 8 into 5 pi by 8, or the vice versa. I can do any one of them. So for that, I can write sine square 17 pi by 18, sine square 17 pi by 18, and I'm gonna convert them into value of. I'm gonna simplify this value, and for that, what I can write 17 pi by 18. 17 pi by 18 is actually smaller than 1. So I can convert it in the pi minus theta format, and and for conversion of that, I will write this pi minus theta is equals to 17 by 18, and then I move the theta in this way, that is theta is equals to pi minus 17 pi by 18. I don't forget to write the pi 18. So what the value will get, 18 pi minus 17 pi by 18, and I got pi minus 18. So this is the value of theta, and I can write the value of theta here directly, pi minus 18. With time, if you have practiced this math enough times, you don't need to manually find the value of theta. Your mind will automatically tell you that this value will be pi minus pi by 18. But sometimes in case of pi by 2, your mind will not automatically tell, otherwise you will be a supercomputer. So I guess you need to manually find the value in case of pi by 2 minus theta, pi by 2 plus theta formats. But in case of pi or 2 pi, finding the values will be much easier. For example, I can easily write the value of this thing as cos square 2 pi plus pi by 18. But I'm not gonna directly write it now, or I already written it, so I'm gonna keep it, but I'm gonna explain how I got this value. So here, if you look at the value 37 by 18, so let me write the different ink, 37 by 18, and if we divide 18 from 37, so 37, what do we get? We get 2 point something. Let me find the calculator. Here is the calculator, somewhere hidden in the treasure box. So 37 divided by 18, we get 2.0556, and it gradually moves on to 5. So the value of 37 pi by 18 is actually greater than 2 pi, or I have not written pi here. If I have written pi here, there will be 2.0005 pi. That is, it will be in the first quadrant, and it will be larger than 2 pi. That it will cover a angular distance of 2 pi and move some angular distance more in the first quadrant. So I know that I have to convert this 37 pi by 18 into a 2 pi by 8 form to actually simplify the value into an acute angle, that is get a theta value that is in the first quadrant, or an acute angle. So I have actually done that. I have converted this into 2 pi by 2 pi plus theta format, 2 pi plus theta format, and for that I found the value of theta using by subtracting the given value, that is 37 pi by 18 from I actually subtracted the value of 37 by I actually subtracted the value of 2 pi from 37 pi by 18 because I know that the value of 2 pi is actually smaller than 37 pi by 18, or you can directly write it as 2 pi by 8. So 2 pi by theta is actually equal to 37 pi by 18. So therefore theta is equal to 37 pi by 18. 37 pi by 18 minus 2 pi, and so 37 minus 36 pi minus 36 pi by 18, that is we get pi by 18. Okay, so we got the value of pi by 18 and converted the value of 37 pi by 18 into an acute angle. So now what I'm going to do is erase all these parts because these are all rough and you don't need to do them in the exam copy. You can just write them in the rough, or you can do in the back of your mind if you're proficient enough. But I guess also you can do it in a calculator. I've already shown you this, but still I was actually breaking up everything and showing you because so that you don't get confused. So I have written the cos square 37 pi by 18 into this value. Now I'm gonna actually convert any of this value into this value or vice versa. So for that I'm gonna write sine square 5 pi by 8. I'm not gonna change 5 pi by 8, but I think I'm gonna change the 3 pi by 8, and I have already showed you that 3 pi by 8 is actually smaller than 1. So what we can do is that this value 3 pi by 8 is actually, I guess it's an acute angle, but you can still convert it, is actually we can actually convert it in the pi minus theta format, and if we convert in the pi minus theta format, you will actually see that we have already gotten this value. So for this we use pi minus theta is equals to 3 pi by 8. So theta will be pi minus 3 pi by 8. That is 8 pi minus 3 pi by 8. 8 pi minus 3 pi by 8. And we will get 5 pi by 8. So we will get cos square pi minus pi by 5 pi by is 5 pi by 8. So now I've actually converted all the values into pi, or in the familiar format of pi minus theta, 2 pi plus theta, and pi minus theta. So now we are going to convert this into an acute angle, that is in terms of sin theta and cos theta. So we have here sin square pi minus pi by 18, and since there is a square here, we actually don't need to think about conversion of signs. That is, we need to don't think about if there will be a minus or not, or it will be a positive value or not. So you can directly write it sin square pi by 18, because we know that sin pi minus theta is equals to sin theta, because pi minus 8 is actually in the second quadrant, and when something is in the second quadrant it will be positive, and when we are actually using form of n pi by 2, that where n is even, that is in case of pi minus 8, n is actually even, that is in the value of n is actually 2, and the 2 on the numerator and 2 on the denominator gets cancelled out and we get a pi. The value of the ratio, or the name of the ratio, the sign will not be converted into cos, and vice versa. Similarly, the resultant of the cos square 2 pi plus pi by 8 is actually in the first quadrant. So we can directly write as we can directly cancel the 2 pi, because we after conversion, after moving angular distance of 2 pi, it actually restarts from the same point. So we can actually cancel the number of complete rotations or the angular distance covered by in a complete rotation in case of this kind of maths, or to find the actual position of the resultant ray or the resultant to find the actual position of the resultant. So we are going to cancel the 2 pi here and we will write cos square pi by 18. Similarly, we don't need to convert the sine square 5 pi by 8, but we can get the cos square pi minus 5 pi by 8 is actually in the second quadrant. In the second quadrant, because this is pi and it will be somewhere in the here where will be pi minus 5 pi by 8. It's 5 pi by 8, so the value of cos will be negative in the second quadrant, but luckily we have a square here, so cos square pi minus 5 pi by 8, and for that the value of cos will not be negative because that square will actually cancel the negative value of cos. So we can directly write cos square 5 pi by 8. So we have two corresponding pairs or two adjacent pairs where we get the value of sine square theta plus cos square theta is equals to 1. So I can write this into 1 and I can convert this into plus 1 because we know that since sine square theta plus cos square theta is equals to 1. So see, doing this math is really easy, and we have done this math quite easily here. Oh sorry, I haven't finished it yet. 1 plus 1 will be 2, and if you don't do this step, 1 marks will be deducted. So make sure to complete your math, otherwise you will lose numbers, unwanted numbers, that is. Something you could get easily, but you didn't because you actually skipped a step. So this is how this math is done, and I guess you have already understood how to do this math and how to convert these values, these frightening values, into simpler values of theta or smaller values of acute angle, and find the position of them in the quadrant system or the coordinate system, and use their respective signs to change the values in your favor basically to reach a simpler form of the solution.